You scroll through hundreds of job descriptions, but they all sound the same. You spend so much time on every application, but it doesn't seem to matter. You send off application after application, but never hear back. You thought the interview went so well, but it's a no. You jump through all the hoops. The news keeps saying how there are all these employers that are struggling to find people to hire. So why does finding a great job have to be so hard? It doesn't seem very logical or fair. It's not. The system is broken. It's not your fault. The process most people go through to get a job is awful. But here's the good news. The system isn't very smart. In fact, it's downright dumb. It can be beaten. How? Most prospective employers and employees today are using the same old tired strategies that have been around forever. It's like professional camouflage. Everybody just blends into the crowd. But you don't have to be that way anymore. You can get traction. You can stand out from the crowd to unleash your God-given potential, to help a world in need, to do work that matters, to earn what you and your family deserve. You can do this. You're meant to do this. There are bright things on the horizon for you. This is the way. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the workshop. Get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope. My name is Eric Woodard. I'm a high-performance career and leadership coach based out of Washington, D.C. And if you are here on this workshop live, I really want to acknowledge you. I know how valuable your time is, and you are so smart to be here. And if you're somebody who's watching the replay, you are also very cool. Not quite as cool as the people who are here live, but also very cool. So we're going to get started right now. Look, I mostly want to make sure that people can hear me, and I'm curious to know what your situation is. And I see so many of you already active in the chat. If you would, put in the chat where you're from and how long you've been on the job search, right? And I see you there, Chastity in Arizona. I see you there, Robert and Sean and Timothy. I hear you too, Timothy. I hear you too. Because sometimes being on a job search, Sabrina in New Orleans, can feel like pounding sand. Sometimes it can feel a lot like waiting on a glacier, Nicole in Nashville and Aaron in Seattle and Alvaro in Orlando and Chad in Phoenix and Georgia in New Jersey and Bridget in Denver and Sean in Connecticut, Tim in Oklahoma City. Sometimes it can feel like wandering in the desert, Marcella in Tulsa. Sometimes Lorenzo in here in DC, it can feel like entering the arena, Robin in Massachusetts and Ruta in Michigan and Elizabeth in Fort Lauderdale. Sometimes it can feel like staring into an abyss, Val in Portland. Sometimes Suda in California. It just is really hard, right? West in Alabama. So who is this for? Tony in Pennsylvania. If you are unsure about the direction you want your career to go, Robert in Providence or Gustavo in Chicago. If you're struggling to find ways to describe what you do, if you're uncertain if your resume is any good going on 3 years, Robert. I see you there, Robert Z, 5 months on the job hunt. If you're wrestling with how to follow up after you apply, Elizabeth. Hey, that's right. We travel, Elizabeth. If you're tired of applying and applying and applying and hearing nothing back, if you've been doing interviews that seem to go great and then you get the big fat no, if you're trapped in a job that you don't like and you're not sure how to escape, and especially my friends, if you're losing hope, this is a workshop for you. On the other hand, if you're somebody who's just kind of super casual about your career, not willing to do much work, reluctant to take responsibility for the results you've been getting, really just interested in finding a job to make money, sort of stuck in your ways and closed-minded about trying new things, if you're unwilling to be authentic, this may not be your favorite workshop. What you're going to learn today, how to get hired fast without settling, getting ignored, or losing hope. I'm going to offer you 4 strategies, 9 tactics that you can put to work right away to elevate your job search so that you can do work that matters and pays what you and your family deserve. So here's our agenda for today. I'm just going to talk for a second about who I am and where I'm coming from. A lot of you probably don't know me at all. I'm going to offer you these 4 strategies, 9 tactics. I've got an invitation for you, right? Some of you have already signed up for this workshop because you've heard about our program, you know the miracles we create, and if that's you and you already know that you want to book time with us to talk about what's possible for you, I'm going to put the link here. And again, if those of you who are like, what the hell is he talking about? Don't worry about it. We'll explain it later. My only ask is that if you do sign up for a call, and a lot of you are going to wind up signing up for a call when you hear this stuff. One, you don't ghost us. That's really terrible. Don't do that. You don't like it when employers do that to you. Don't do that to us. Don't reschedule. 2, because you're going to make yourself a priority. 2, you're ready to get hired fast. And 3, you're at least open to the idea of paying real American dollars to make an investment in yourself. And if that's not you, it's fine. You're going to get a lot of value out of this anyway. And if that's you, book a call. And there's the link. And then we're going to have time for Q&A. So everybody's welcome. We're so glad you're here. So who is this guy? And why does he think he can help me find a job? Well, I don't know if I can help you find a job, folks. I think I can, probably can, help a lot of people. I will offer you that I am not here to look good, my friends. Like, that is not my agenda today. I'm really here just to offer you a ton of service. So that's what I'm about. And by the way, that's why I can help you find a job too. So who is this guy? I grew up in Asia, came to the States when I was 17, wound up transferring college 7 times. Here I am in the Midwest wondering why it's so cold. Wound up as a scuba instructor on the island of Guam, which was pretty cool. I spent about 10,000 hours with the fish, and it was pretty awesome. But my brain got a little spongy, and I was like, this is awesome, and I gotta do something more substantial. So I thought, what would be the coolest job in the world I could get? And I thought, well, that must be something like the White House. So I took out a piece of paper and I wrote a letter to the president. I said, "Dear Mr. President, you should hire me." And I put that in an envelope, send it off, 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. I figured I'm never hearing from those guys. But about a month later, I was going past the post office, and the guy came out and he was like, "Eric, you got a letter from the White House." And I opened it up, and it was an internship application. Now, I didn't know what the hell an internship was, but I was really good at filling out applications because I transferred college so many times. So I filled that out, sent that bastard in, and I figured I'm never hearing from those guys, but at least I had that cool envelope. I thought that was pretty cool. And that got me thinking. I applied to some grad schools. I wound up getting into GW. I sort of landed in DC with a big bushy haircut and was dumpster diving for furniture. Bought a pair of running shoes, was out running past the White House one day, and I thought, those White House bastards, they never even bothered to let me know about that internship thing I applied for. What's up with that? So I found a payphone, I put in a quarter, and I said, "Hey, you," I don't know if I called them bastards. I might have. I don't remember. But I said, "Hey, you people, what about that internship thing?" And they're like, "Is this Eric from Guam?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm in DC now." They're like, "Man, we've been trying to get in touch with you. You start in the First Lady's office on Monday." So I was like, "Well, that's interesting." So I got a haircut, bought a suit, and I showed up. So look, my friends, I know we got a lot of heavy politics going on right now. I don't know if your politics match mine. And if they don't, I'm sorry. This was back during the Clinton administration. I went to work for Hillary Rodham Clinton. She was a great boss. I wound up getting hired on her staff, spent most of the Clinton administration with her. Then I wound up following her to the U.S. Senate, where I was with her for all 8 years. Followed her to the State Department, where I did a bunch of UNESCO stuff. And then I left Hillary Land and became director of fellowships and internships at the Smithsonian Institution, where I spent about 8 years. And all during that time, working with people in all different levels of their career, CEOs and mid-career people and early professionals, people in all different industries, I would see this same movie over and over, where people trying to figure out this job thing and the system not really working very well. I think Tony said, "It's never not been broken." Tony, I'm not sure I would argue with you. Yeah, I agree. Right. So now I coach. I've written a bunch of books. I have an absurd number of amazing credentials. I have glowing testimonials, and you guys don't care about any of that, because what you care about is, can I help you? I don't know, probably. Let's find out. So guys, we're going to take a lot of notes here. We're going to go really fast because we have a lot to cover. Feel free to put questions in the chat. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay. I see you there, Bhavana in Dallas, right? Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay between when you ask questions and I see the answers, and vice versa. So just bear with us, and we're going to get through this. Okay. So first question, let's see if anybody gets it right. I tend to give away things to those that do. Okay. What is a good resume about? If you would, put your answer in the chat. What's a good resume about? Let's see if anybody gets it right. We'll see. What's a good resume about? Right. And this is the time there's a little bit of a delay, but it's not too long. All right. So John says them. Oh, John. Right. So Derek says earns trust. Right. John says you. right? Aaron says, or your work history. Okay. So Hodge says getting attention. So Lorenzo says your skills and experience, right? I have seen the right answer, right? Crystal says market, sell yourself. So Mike King says you want me. So guys, John got it first out of the gate. A lot of you are saying a good resume is about you, right? I see you, Maggie. Your professional value, being authentic. I like that answer, right? Accomplishments, right? Selling the invisible. And John got it right out of the gate. A good resume is not about you, folks. A good resume is about them. A good resume is about them. I see you there, Eric. A good resume is not about you. Most of job seekers in the world, and possibly many of you, are laboring under the misinterpretation of reality that a good resume is about you. It's not about you, my friends. It's about them, right? You want to be influential with another human being on this earth, talk about them. And when I say resume, I'm not just talking resume. I'm talking cover letter and follow-up and all the rest. So Jessa's helping us today, right? Jessa, go back in the chat roll. John was the first one to get it right. So John, if you would, I know you were the first one. Make sure we have your first and last name, because John, we want to send you a free course about how to make your LinkedIn profile awesome. So John, that said them, you were first out of the gate. And Jessa, thanks for your help today. Okay, a good resume is about them. So it's not about you. And it's no wonder that most of us think a good resume is about ourselves, because very likely the first resume you ever did was out of school. And in school, it is about us. It's our cubby. It's our worksheet. It's our desk. It's our transcript. And yet when we move to the working world, those of you who are seasoned professionals, which is probably many of you, know it's not about you, right? It's the customer, the client, the constituent, the shareholder, right? It's not about us. Okay. So if you get nothing out of this workshop today, or you're just watching the replay and you're only going to watch 10 minutes of it, please get this concept. This concept alone is worth your time, right? Worth the price of admission, which there is none. Okay. So good resumes about them. Okay. Next question. Here we go. If we went to a library and I looked at a shelf full of storybooks and I looked at the front cover of those storybooks, there'd be some words on the front cover of those storybooks. What do we call those words? What do we call the words, thanks Jessa, on the front cover of a book? What are those words called? I wonder if anybody knows. What do we call those words on the front cover of a book? Aaron and Robert, you were the first two I saw. That's right? Aaron and Robert and Gustavo. I saw you about the same time. So it's a title. So Aaron and Robert and Gustavo, Jessa, we're going to send them that free course on how to make your LinkedIn profile awesome. That's right. It's a title, folks. I see you, David and Mark and Sharon and Arthur and Warren and Derek, right? And Ronald, you're absolutely right. It's a title. Now, isn't it that interesting? That's the same term we use to label people in the workplace, which tells me that just like we'll slap a label on somebody's career, and this brings us to the idea of stories. Here's another question for you. What percent of human decision-making do you think is emotional versus logical, right? Is it 50-50, 80-20, 20-80? So what's the ratio of, when it comes to human decision-making, of emotion to logic? I wonder what it is, and I wonder if anybody will get it right. So John Werner, right out of the gate. John, have you seen this workshop before? So a lot of you are saying like it's 70-30, 90-10. Nassim, I see you, Nassim. So John Werner and Nassim are the two that I see, right? So and as Sabrina saying, it depends on the person, right? Some of you have got the right idea. It's 100% emotional. Human decision-making is 100% emotional. Those cats walking around saying we make data-driven decisions, they're full of it. Human decision-making is 100% emotional. And the reason we know it's emotional is when people get their limbic system damaged, they're fine, except they can't make a single decision. And that's the debilitating part, which brings us to the next strategy. It's stories, right? When you got on this workshop today, you very quickly made an opinion, formed an opinion about me, the workshop, the content, all of it, whether you liked my shirt, my background, you quickly made very decisions, and it was 100% emotional. And now you're just working to rationalize those decisions by collecting data. But the original decision was almost instantaneous and it was emotional. And the reason stories are so important is, as Angelou said, right? She said, we remember how people make us feel. And stories are how we convey emotion, not facts. So it's fine if you've got some facts in your resume And the human capacity to process facts is like 20 bits a second. Our ability to process emotion is like 40 million bits a second. It's orders of magnitude greater. Okay. So you're going to want to use this in your job search. Make your stuff a story. Use stories and realize that the title you're using is just a story. Hey, Talha. Hey, buddy. Nice to see you on here, Talha. Nice to see you on here. Right. So like, one time, Tom, I'm so glad you're here, by the way. By the way, if you guys are looking for awesome graphic design, you're going to want to look up Tala. He's great. Okay. So like, notice I'm about to tell a story. So one time I was accepting a bunch of applications, right, to a program. And I got this one application from this woman named Maggie. And she had written how the summer before she'd been in a terrible car accident and her arm had been severed. And I was like, oh man, her arm's been set. So we accepted her the program first day, and I'm like preparing, accommodations, making this poor woman only has one arm. Like, got to make accommodations. She walks in the first day, 2 arms. Now it was bandaged from where it had been, partially severed and reattached, and she was doing physical therapy. She was going to be fine. Was I upset? Of course not. I was so happy she had both her arms. And I remember that story to this day. I don't remember that much more about Maggie, but I remember that story, right? Stories. People are going to remember how we make them feel. Okay, next question. Who can tell me what this guy's name is? What's this guy's name? Put it in the chat. I'll give you a hint. He's from Idaho. What's this guy called? Right? Some of you will know him. What's this guy's name? What's this guy's name? Philip Lucas, first out of the gate. This is Napoleon Dynamite. So we want to send Philip, Jessa, we want to send Philip Lucas our LinkedIn course, right? This is Napoleon Dynamite. Now, this is a movie. And if some of you aren't familiar with this movie, please stop your job search and go watch this movie immediately. We're trying to create a society here. Come on, I can only do so much. And I won't ruin it for you. But the deal here in this particular scene is Napoleon's a high school kid. And he sort of beats to his own drum. He finds himself on stage in front of the entire student body. And he's managed to get a cassette tape up to the sound booth, and he's got to do like some sort of impromptu performance. And so Maggie says that's her dance instructor, right? So now Napoleon does this crazy dance, right? I mean, this thing is wild. I mean, he metaphorically opens the kimono. Hey, Gracie, you just booked a call. Nice job, Gracie. Nice job, right? So like, so Napoleon does this crazy dance. And when he's done, he's sort of sweating and panting, and the crowd sort of looks at him, and then they burst into applause. And the reason it works is because it's so authentic. Jamie Kern-Lima, the founder of It Cosmetics, says everybody's a good dancer if they commit fully, and she's right. And this brings us to strategy number 3, which is authenticity, right? Authenticity. People are going to hire you because of who you are, not in spite of it. Now, I can collectively hear everybody saying, but what about ATS, Eric? What about the algorithm? We still have thumbs, my friends. Humans hire humans. Robots don't hire humans, and humans don't hire robots. So the opportunity is for you to give them evidence in your job search that you are a human. And if you're not doing that, you're really leaving a lot on the table. Humans hire humans. There's only one reason they're going to hire you. Just one. It's not your skills. It's not whether they like you. It's not even who you know. It's do they trust you? And the last thing we want to do to increase trust is hide a bunch of stuff, cover up our age, right? Only take off so many years of our experience. Remember, it's never the scandal. It's always the cover up. Vulnerability is how we build trust. Being human is how we build trust. Trust is how we get hired fast. Perfect example, right? Well, I'll give you one that's not even on here. So earlier this year, I had a client on her resume. She came up with this. She put 2 truths and a lie. She got 2 interviews and 2 offers just from that. And the reason we know that is they told her, right? This is the kind of thing we help clients do. We help clients craft. And they get hired fast because everybody else is out there trying to be proficient in Microsoft Office. And we have to please the ATS. Yes, stop doing that. We have to hide our age because of ageism. Stop. I'm not saying ageism doesn't exist, but that's not the way. Be human, be yourself. They're going to hire you because of who you are, not in spite of it. All right, authenticity superpower. Let's talk about Abe Lincoln. Give me 6 hours to cut down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. And this brings us to strategy number 4, which is systems. Systems. You're going to want to have a system, right? A lot of you are out there thinking, oh man, I'm not getting hired because I don't have the right experience, or I got mustard on my shirt, or I'm too fat, or whatever. Fill in the blank. Nah, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. The results you're currently getting are perfectly attuned to your current system. And if you want different results, you got to have a different system. And if the system you've got isn't working, you got to iterate. And you can spend the time and money to figure it out, or you can just adopt a system that's been workable for a lot of people. We don't know exactly what your settings are, but we can make a pretty good guess, right? This is the system a lot of you are currently using. And I got to hand it to you. I see you there, Eric, right? Covey's speed of trust hook. That's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know about that one, Eric. You're right, right? So like, this is the system a lot of you are using. And I got to hand it to you. You have done much with this system. I mean, you have used the crap out. I mean, like, this has the sticky button and the gear shift, and you're wondering why you can't steer yourself to a new job. Here's what you don't realize. This is the system that's available. Right? This is the system. This is how we get people hired fast. There are all kinds of dials and buttons and all sorts of things that you don't even know about. Right? And if you just get these settings right, it's hard to have all the settings right when you have this. If you have this, you got all kinds of options to get hired fast. Okay. So how do you put this all to work? Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some tactics that you guys can invoke. And before we do, just want to show you an example. This is somebody, a guy named Andrew, who we worked with. Like, this video is not that old. It's a couple weeks old. And this is somebody who we worked with, and he just like took our coaching. He signed up for our program, and Andrew got great results. Jessa, roll it, please.
I got a job offer thanks to Win at Work. I really appreciate all the help and materials and one-on-one coaching. I applied cold to an organization I was interested in and received the automated response, "We're pursuing other candidates." And then there was another posting for the same role or similar role in the same organization. And this time I really used a lot of the Win at Work process. I also really appreciate the coaching I received on interview prep from my coach, Patrick, and the Win at Work materials on interview prep. I feel like I really impressed the HR recruiter. She scheduled me for another interview with program directors a couple days later. They were also really impressed and said I had a lot of good answers, and I really just did what I learned in this program. Make it about them, talk about them, be authentic, and now I have my new job offer.
So easy, right? Yeah, it's kind of that easy, right? Sort of that easy. Okay, so I have a program. It's called Get Hired Fast. Andrew just mentioned it. Like, look, folks, if you're interested in getting help, right? We're going to talk about this later. We got to talk about these tactics. But if you're interested in getting help, and one, you're not going to schedule something and cancel it, right? Don't do that. We only have so many slots. I only have so many people to do calls. Don't do that, or don't ghost us. And if you're ready to get hired now, and you're at least open to the idea of making an investment and paying real American dollars to get help so that you can make real American dollars, book a call. We just dropped the link in the chat, and it looked like Grace already signed up for a call. Grace is with it. So Grace, we look forward to talking to you. Okay. So let's talk about these 9 tactics. Okay. Okay, here we go. So this is tactic number 1. So folks, pay attention. And if you've been watching the replay in the workshop, you're probably having me at 2 times speed. So I'm going to talk like this really fast. So I like to do that to make the people listening to the replay wake up. Anyhow, I am getting distracted. So here's the situation. Let's say there's a lake, and in the middle of the lake, someone's drowning. Okay, there's a lake, and in the middle of the lake, someone's drowning. Now they're surrounded by other people in little boats. Okay, so somebody's in the middle of the lake drowning, and they're surrounded by other people in little boats. If that was a job search, metaphorically, who's the person drowning? Put it in the chat. Let's see if anybody gets it right. Right? Let's see if anybody gets it. Who's the person drowning in this metaphorical job search situation? Right? So somebody's in the middle of drowning, surrounded by other people in little boats. That's a job search. Who's the person drowning? Right? So Sharon says you. Daniel says it's the job seeker. Yeah, I really hear that. Tony says it's me. Lauren Barris. Lauren, she got it right. A lot of you are saying it feels like me. I feel like I'm drowning. I feel like I'm not safe. Lauren's right. So Lauren, we want to make sure we send you that LinkedIn course, right? It's the employer. We're the ones in the boat. And the reason we know it's the employer is they've told us, right? They put up a job description to say, help, we're drowning. We're drowning. And we're the ones in the boat. Now, some of us are rowing up and saying, I'll help you. I'm the best. I'd be really good to be the one to rescue you. And the employer in the water is like, whoa, right? That's creepy. Like, why are you so interested in pulling me out of the water? Others of us are rowing up and saying, hey, employer, you're drowning. That's terrible. That sucks. Let's have a conversation to see how we can get your rear end out of the water. What's not important here is that I'm the one that does it. What's important here is you don't drown and die. So this brings us to the first tactic, which is mindset. A lot of us are thinking that we're the ones drowning. We're not. We're the ones in the boat. And the opportunity here is to come from a place of service. We're going to talk about this even more, right? People don't want to be sold. And selling people is weird. Buying people is even weirder. We've gone over this historically, my friends. Don't sell yourself. Nah, nobody wants to be sold. What they want is to be served. That's what they want. Okay, on to tactic number 2. Some of you have seen the show Deadliest Catch, Alaskan fishermen, Bering Sea, very slippery, icy, dangerous boats. They crab fish by putting these big steel cages on the bottom of the ocean floor with a little bait. And the crabs come along. There's Charlie the crab. He comes along and says, oh, free lunch. And Charlie goes in, and then Bob goes in, and Sally goes in, and more crabs join. Eventually, the bait inside the trap is gone. And at this point, something very interesting happens. Some of the crabs inside are like, lunch is over. I'm out of here, boys. And they try and climb out. The other crabs will actually pull them back in. They'll even remove one of their legs. They'll even do a crab murder to keep their fellow crabs in the box, because crabs instinctively like to be with other crabs. It makes them feel safe. And of course, the sad part is in the end, well, sad for the crabs, they all get pulled up and become dinner. And this brings us to tactic number 2, which is our environment. Some of you are thinking that you're not making progress in your job search because you are procrastinating, or maybe you had a mean boss in your last job. If that's you, I'm really sorry that happened. That sucks, right? Nah, there's a really good chance. Hey, Amy, you signed up for a call, right? Amy Deirdrickson. Nice job, Amy. So Amy, we're going to look forward to you, right? Amy's going to show up for a call. She's going to get help. Nice job, Amy. Okay. So this is your environment, right? Environment eats like motivation for lunch. And a lot of people don't even consider it. And I'm talking all sorts of different environments, right? These are the people you hang out with, the physical environment, the media you consume. You could be reading an author from 100 years ago. It still counts, right? Some of you have heard of the idea of reference groups. You're the average weight, income, education of the 5 people you hang out with most. Exactly. So you want to hang out with people, a community that lifts you up, not one that pulls you down, not one that's like, even the people that love you the most might be like, can't you just settle, right? We know that job will crush your soul, but we just want you to be safe. Those people love you and they're not serving you in your job search, right? So you want to have another community of people that are going to lift you up. It makes a huge difference. All right, on to the next tactic. It's hard to hit a blurry target, right? Sometimes I'll talk to job seekers and I'll be like, how much money do you want to make? And they'll be like, anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Well, I want to help people. That's beautiful. And it's really vague, right? And that brings us to tactic number 3, which is vision, right? What's the proverb? Where there's no vision, the people perish. Where there is no vision, there is no hiring, right? There is no employment, right? So some people are just really vague and open about all of these things. And there's a Bruce Lee quote that says, be careful what you say to yourself. Your body's listening. And if you're not saying anything specific to yourself, you won't even see it. There's this thing called the reticular activating system. This is the thing when we go and buy a new car and we drive it off the lot, like nobody's got this call. Hey, John Lazar, you booked a call, man. We look forward to seeing you, right? Like the reticular activating system. Like if I said the color red, all of a sudden, all of you are more aware of the color red now, just because your brain heard it. So if you're not telling your brain exactly what you want, you'll be blind to it. You literally won't see it, right? This specificity and clarity is vital. There's a reason that race car drivers, when they drive 500 miles in a circle, they don't look at the outer wall, because where they look is where the car tends to go. And if you don't have focus and clarity on where you want your career to go, you're just going to drive in a circle like some of those race car drivers. Maybe some of you have been doing that. You want to have clarity from a place of service. Okay, I got another one for the chat here. Here we go. If I went to a store and I bought this, what would I be buying? Put it in the chat, please, right? If I went to a store and I went and bought this, what would I be buying? What am I actually buying here? Let's see if anybody gets it right, right? So Jeffrey says a drill. Aaron says a drill. Timothy says a drill. Jared says a drill, right? Ryobi System says Amish, right? Gela says, so I haven't seen the right answer yet, right? A lot of you are saying tools or a drill, right? Joseph says a cordless drill. Oh, Corey. Yep, Corey's closer, right? A drill, but what are you actually buying here? Oh, Lin Wu! Lin Wu got it right. There you go. And like John, you were right behind her, but we're going to give it to Lin Wu, right? You're buying a hole because nobody actually needs one of these things. And so let's make sure we give Lin Wu our course about how to make a LinkedIn profile awesome, right? So like nobody needs this sitting in their garage. What they actually need, as Lynn just said, is a hole. And actually, Lynn, I have bad news for you, and we're still going to send you the course. You're actually wrong. We actually don't need a walls full of holes. That doesn't sound good. What we actually need is a place to put the hook. And actually, I'm sorry, I got it wrong again. We actually don't want a bunch of hooks coming out of our walls. I gashed my arm open, right? What we actually need is a place to hang the picture. And would you know it? We don't even need a place to put the picture. What we actually want is the feeling I get when I look at the picture of my beautiful family that's hanging on the hook that's in the hole that was made by the drill. And this brings us to tactic number 4, which is giving them safety. A lot of people out there are just talking about themselves, right? I'm just selling myself. Let me tell you about my experience and why I'd be good for you and blah, 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 blah. And as we've discussed, that's a hot dumpster fire, right? You haven't been getting traction in your job search because you've been doing that. Now you know. Some of you are saying, yeah, I'll talk about them. And what you're talking about is the drill. When the opportunity instead is to talk about the thing that keeps them up at night when they're laying in bed trying to go to sleep. Sometimes people watch this workshop and they come back to me 6 months later, 6 more months of being on the job hunt. And they're like, Eric, I'm talking about them. I'm like, show me. And they're talking about the drill, right? Instead of what the employer really cares about, right? You want to make them feel seen, heard, and understood. You want to give that employer safety. Because that's really what they're worried about. Hey, if I hire this person, are they going to be a disaster? And if they're a disaster, is my boss going to get mad at me? If they're a disaster, then am I going to have to do all the work and I won't be able to take my family to Disney and blah, 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 blah. Right? People are focused on themselves. So the way that you can make them feel safe, make them feel seen, heard, and understood, right? It's one of the things that we help clients do. All right, tactic number 5, paper. Let's talk about resumes and cover letters and all that kind of stuff, right? A lot of you are like, well, yes, I have a resume that is based on a template and uses best practices. I might even use software like Teal, and my resume looks like everybody else's. How's that working, right? People are going to believe what you show them more than what you tell them, right? And if you're busy showing them that you look just like everybody else, then that's the message they're going to receive. And if you're just like everybody else, what incentive would they have to hire you, right? As opposed to the person that's making them feel seen, heard, and understood. Realize that the paper you send is just a communication piece, and resumes and all that kind of stuff are more art than science. There's no one right way as long as you're making the resume about them. You want to communicate with employers in a way they cannot ignore, right? So look, I got hyperlinks in my resume. Do you? Why not? Like there's only that times a million other things that you can do. Hyperlinks. All right. Okay, guys, I got a kind of a special, I'm in the mood just to give some stuff away. So I have a giveaway for you here. If a job application is submitted and there's no follow-up, does it even make a sound? Lauren, Sabrina, Suda, Wes, Tony? I would humbly suggest it doesn't, right? You're going to want to follow up when you apply to something. And so some of you are saying, like, some of you are answering my question. I got you guys, right? So like some of you are applying. You're like, well, there's nobody to follow up with. There's nobody to follow up with. Who do I follow up with? Child, please, right? If your family member was being held hostage and the only way they were going to be set free is if by the end of the day you were able to find somebody associated with that job at their email and reach out to them, could you do it? I bet you could, right? I bet you could, right? So follow up. You're going to want to follow up from a place of service. And some of you are like, oh, but following up, that's pushy, right? What that would be like is the person's floating face down in the water, right? They're floating face down in the water and you're in the boat and you're like, hey buddy, you okay? And they don't answer. And you're like, well, I don't want to bother them. No, you jump in the water, you flip them over, you start doing mouth to mouth. And if the person came to you and said, lady, I was just snorkeling, you'd be like, my bad. Sorry, my mistake. And you'd be willing to offend in the name of service. That's what you want to do in your job search. You want to be willing to offend in the name of service, right? That recruiter says they'll get back to you. Say, great. That sounds great. You'll get back to me. Can I ask you a question? When? Oh, well, next week. Sure, next week. That sounds fantastic. Love next week. Can I ask you something, recruiter? Yes. What do you mean? Well, most applicants don't ask these sorts of questions. Thank you for noticing. I'm not like any other applicant you've ever had. Show them, right? Show them. So the giveaway I want to give to you, right? If you're not following me on LinkedIn, please do. We're going to drop it in the chat right now, my link to my LinkedIn profile. Don't leave the workshop. Open it up in a different window. So Jessa, if you would, thanks, Jessa. That's my LinkedIn profile. Go on there, hit follow, and then send me a message. And here's the word. The password today is chicken. I want you to say the word chicken. And if you say chicken, I've got a course about how to find anybody, how to follow up with anybody. If you put the word chicken in there, we're going to send you the link that is the free link to sign up and get a free copy of my course about how to find anybody. Hey, Margie, you signed up for a call. We look forward to seeing you. So go on there, hit follow. So if you don't hit follow, it won't count. And then, or connect with me, whatever you want to do. And then put in the message me, email on LinkedIn, say the word chicken, not here. It's got to be in LinkedIn, right? And just email me on LinkedIn, the word chicken, and we'll send you the link to that course. And I love all these chickens here. Okay. So remember, you want to follow up from a place of service, right? That's how you want to do it. Okay. So this is really important. We're on to tactic number 7. A lot of times when I work with people, this is the thing, guys, that's great. Everybody who's saying done, right? This is the thing that really makes the difference. Right. So for a lot of you, if I said, okay, OJ or Corey or Shannon or Tony, right? How many people do you know in your address book? And they might say, well, let's say 1,000. I'd be like, great. Of those 1,000, how many know you're on a job hunt? And now people might be like, well, a good number, maybe 25%. And I'd be like, well, that's good. How would those 25% know? Well, I posted on LinkedIn, I posted there, a couple months ago, I posted that I was on a job hunt. So I would say, oh, so they would have had to go there on that day, seen your post and remember it from 3 months ago. And now you get a little worried, right? You ever seen the Academy Awards, right? This is where, that's okay, Isabel. You just email chicken and we'll get you covered, right? So a lot of you maybe have seen the Academy Awards, right? And you seen the movie star gets up there and they win the big prize and they get up there and they say, yeah, I got nobody to thank. And it's sort of silent and awkward. No, that doesn't happen, right? They're like, I got to thank this person and this person and this person, this person, this person, right? And they're trying to play the music to get them off stage. When people do great things, we ask for help. Asking for help is a gift because we wouldn't ask someone for help unless we thought their help was worth asking for. So those of you who are laboring in silence under the misinterpretation of reality that asking for help makes you look needy, that putting the open to work banner makes you look needy, this is for you. There's a very good chance that your next job is going to be through somebody you know. Asking for help makes you look strong, not weak. Vulnerability builds trust. And by the way, you don't want to ask for help like your system. You don't want a system that's like one line in the water, right? Like fishing with one line, right? Because you'd have to get the right bait on the right fish at the right time, the right depth. I mean, it might happen if you wait long enough, right? You want to have a system where you're filtering the ocean. It's one of the things that we teach in the Get Hired Fast program, right? It's one of the things that helps our clients get hired really fast. Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. So on to the next tactic. Let's talk about interviews. All right. Here is the best interview advice in the world. Are you ready? You may want to write this down. Get something to write with. I'm about to bestow this advice. Here it is. Ready? I'm going to get real hush, right? So it's real dramatic. Don't answer their questions. If you've been going into interviews and answering their questions and wondering why you're not getting more traction in interviews, now we know. Because really in an interview, they're not really asking, tell me about yourself or tell me about a time or, what's your greatest strength? They're not asking any of that. What they're really asking is this question: can I trust you? But they're not going to ask that because that would be weird because of society. And even if they did and you answered, yeah, you can trust me, they wouldn't believe you because people believe what we show them, not tell them, right? If we had a universal translator, we'd be like, Tell me about a time you made a mistake. It'd go, meh, meh, meh. Can I trust you? Right? Tell me what your greatest weakness is. Blah, blah, blah. It'd be a funny SNL skit. So rather than answer the questions that they're asking, you want to give answers that show them that you're somebody they can trust. You want to make them feel seen, heard, and understood. You want to tell stories that make them feel like they can trust you, because hopefully they can, right? Don't use this stuff for evil, obviously, right? Be authentic. And by the way, if you try and fake it, they'll smell it. It won't work anyway, right? So you want to come from a place of service. Going into an interview isn't about looking good. Remember at the top of this workshop, I said, hey guys, I'm not here to look good for you. I'm not here to please you. I'm here to serve. Exactly. Like when I said that, did that increase trust or decrease trust? Hopefully increased it, because it happens to be true, right? Look, I'm going to do an imitation of a mango right now to show you I'm not afraid to look looking stupid. Here I am. That was my imitation of a mango. See? I'm not here to look good. That was ridiculous. And I don't care, because I'm willing to offend in the name of service, because I've had a lot of coaching, right? That's how you want to proceed in a hey, Chris, we look forward to talking to you. Maybe we'll make you do a mango imitation, right? Like you want to come from a place of service. You want to be authentic. And what is authentic for me isn't going to be authentic for you, right? You want the Shannon version or the Chris version, right? Yeah. Okay. Final tactic. Here we are. Let's talk about offers. Some of you are like, if I said, well, have you been applying? You're like, yes, I have, but I'm really particular about where I apply, because if I get an offer, then I have to say yes and move the family to Connecticut and default negative future. Realize two things. One, you don't have to worry if you're qualified for a job unless and until like they'll have an opinion. Hey, yeah, there's a replay, Heather. We got you covered, Heather. Don't you worry, right? So you don't have to worry if you're qualified for a job, right? They'll have an opinion on it, right? So you don't even have to worry about that. It's natural that you might play around with it, and two, you don't have to worry about if you want a job unless and until it's offered, because until that happens, you're just negotiating with yourself. And once it is offered, unless you have the offer, like you don't know what you're saying yes or no to, or what you're, the conversation, the agreement you're going to co-create with them towards possibility. So realize that you don't have to worry about any of this until you get an offer, right? Okay, so write this down, folks. You guys have been such a great crowd. I don't think we've lost a single person. All right, we got a big crowd today. Okay, 4 strategies, 9 tactics. The gist of it is you want to get your mindset right? You want to get your mindset right. You want to get your system for applying right? Making it about them. You want to get your follow-up and your networking right. And you want to be able to navigate like interviews and offers. That's the gist of it, right? That's the gist of it. You don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over and getting different result or getting the same result, right? That's the definition of insanity. So that's not good, right? The stuff I'm offering you here is not Googleable. This isn't stuff that like I've researched and recompiled. This is all original stuff. Nobody's out there talking about this exact stuff, right? Because I'm practicing what I preach, right? Authenticity. Nobody can be a better coach version of Eric than me. So I don't worry about people stealing this stuff. Who could? Nobody's got my story, just like nobody's got yours, right? And so if you want to use these tactics and strategies, right, your best version of it, I have a program. It's called Get Hired Fast. It's awesome. I could spend a lot of time talking about the features and benefits of it, and I won't be doing that, right? Comes with a lot of one-on-one coaching and group coaching, and there's an online course, and it's amazing. And we don't have to worry if it works. We have the receipts on that, right? It's a 3-month program. The guarantee we offer is that if you don't get hired in 3 months, we stay with you. Here are some of the people that have gone through it. So there's Jessie. She got a couple of offers when she was with us before she took one. There's Rob. He was at the beginning of his job search and didn't want to be somebody searching for like a year. He signed up for the program. He was living overseas at the time, wound up getting hired in 2 months. There's Wayne. He got a bunch of offers working with us. There's Amy. She was working with us and got really close a couple times. And finally, I think got 2 offers at once. John was a big tech CEO, same sort of situation. He landed a job at a really high level. There's Philip. He was a young IT guy. Jessie, she was going through a lot of stuff that wasn't related to job stuff and still managed to get a job. So like all sorts of things, right? And Jessie, get ready because we're going to show him Angel here. We've got time, right? So Angel was somebody that signed up for this program, just like you, watched this workshop, booked a call, and decided to sign up, and here's what happened. Roll it, Jessa, please. In the time we've got left, I'm curious, especially if there's somebody we haven't heard from yet. They've had a win, a loss. Angel, I got to ask you, what do we know, if anything? What do we know?
I got the
Whoa!
job! Yay! The offer. I'm moving in a week. Yeah, it's crazy. And I know when we first met, you're like, oh, like, let's get something by your birthday. And my birthday is in 4 days, so I was able to do it. Yay!
And I just want to acknowledge you. Like, you dove in, you did it, you did the work.
Thank you.
Way to go.
It would have been possible without like signing up for this program, truly. I think it made the difference for me.
So good, Angel.
Yeah.
Really happy for you.
Yeah.
Super awesome. Congratulations to you. Yeah. Yay, Angel. All right. So look, some of you are like, you know what? I want to think about it. I got to think about it. And you're under the misinterpretation of reality that thinking about it isn't expensive, right? That like some of you may be like, oh, I can't sign up for a course like this because I don't have the money and I've been out of work. Yeah. But what you don't realize is this is costing you not just in terms of time, but money, right? So like, and I'm not saying this to scare you. I just, there's an opportunity cost here, right? So if this is the annual salary that you want to make, here's what it's costing you per month. Here's what it's costing you per week. So waiting and thinking about it and just continuing to do what you've been doing that hasn't been working isn't free. Sorry, right? And look, if we can get you hired a couple weeks sooner, like, yeah, like that's way, like you're going to save money, right? Well, definitely. All right. So amazing system. We help people with resumes and cover letters and LinkedIn and mindset and interviews and networking. We do all of it, right? And a lot of times the stuff people learn in this program, they actually take with them. And so to make sure that what happens in their next job isn't what happened in their last job, right? So multiple payment plans available. Some of them start at like just a couple $100 each. You pay the rest when you get the job. We place 100% of the people that sign up with our program. We don't let anybody go, right? You stay with the program until you get hired. And usually that's in 3 months or less. So the question is not whether this works. We have the receipts. The question is, like, are you wanting help? Like, nobody needs help. It just depends how long you want this to take and how painful you want it to be and how expensive you want it to be. So my invitation to you is, a bunch of people have already booked up, right? Chris signed up, right? We have a strategy call we want to offer you. And again, I have some people that help me with these calls and I take them too. And there's not a ton of us. So please don't book a call if you're going to cancel on us or reschedule. Like there's too many people out there that need help, right? So if you're going to cancel or no show, don't book a call. I love you. Don't book a call. If you're just sort of kicking the tires and looking around, don't do that. If you're not in a hurry, right? If you're like, well, I need to get hired, but maybe next month, just wait, book a call then, right? Let's make room for the people who are really want to take action, really want to get hired now. And on the other hand, if you're going to show up for the call and you're open to taking action, even if you're scared, even if you're worried about the money piece, it's okay. I just had somebody sign up this morning. Like I worked with her and we figured out the money piece and she's going to get hired fast. I don't know if she's watching now. She might be, right? If that's you, book a call with us because we'd be happy to talk to you. It's just a simple form. I know we've got time, I think tomorrow and the next day and a little bit of time going into next week. So come talk to us because if you're wanting to get hired fast, we can get that handled. All right. So let's take some questions. And I want you guys to have the full experience of my gigantic head, right? It's like a planet. So let's talk about some questions that maybe we haven't gotten to yet. We got a little bit of time here. And Jessa, thank you so much for your help. What are some questions? Okay, Daniel Wyckoff, here we go. What are your thoughts on building a web page for your profile? So I think it's fine, Daniel. I mean, I don't think your job search is going to like hinge on your having a website. And again, if the website is like something that makes them feel seen, heard, and understood, that's what we're after about, right? Like that would be the purpose of the website. So one technique you can use on your website is instead of starting off by saying, hey, let me tell you about Daniel, you could be saying, hey, you might be somebody like this. If you go to my website right now, it starts off talking about you, the person watching it, right? And it's really effective. It's really effective. So I hope that helps. All right, what other questions do we have here? Jesse, if you would, doing a great job. Put it up, please. Let's see what other questions we have. You're okay, Jessa. Joseph, poor Jessa's scrambling here, right? So let's see here. let's see here. So Lauren Bayless says, one of the jobs I've been prepping to apply for requires 2 to 4 minute video. This is such a helpful perspective. And we'll get to Sharon's question next in recording the video. So yeah, that's right. So if you were going to do a video, Lauren, like you would want to, instead of spending those valuable minutes, like talking about yourself, you would want to be like, hey, if you're watching this, chances are this is what you're thinking, right? It's such a game-changing thing. It's just really different. Yeah. So Sharon, what's the best way to let your network know you're looking for a job? So the best way, Sharon, is to, first of all, start with them, honor them, be like, hey, if you're getting this message, you're somebody who I really trust. Not everybody I know is getting this message. That's sort of the downside of posting it online, right? There's no exclusivity to it. Whereas if we send somebody a message and we let them know that they're getting this message, we're thinking of them specifically, right? That personalization goes a long way. And by the way, sometimes when we reach out to people and don't hear, we think, oh, they don't want to help me. Nah, they just feel bad, right? Because if I reached out to Sharon for a job, Sharon's first thought might be, man, Eric's going to know I'm not as cool as he thinks I am because I don't have one. And Sharon may feel bad. And one reaction to that is just to not reply, right? So if you have a system for filtering the ocean consistently, then the time's going to come 2 or 3 weeks later where Sharon's like, I got one this week. And you'll hear from her so fast, it'll make your head spin. Yeah. All right. What other questions do we have? Jessa, what other questions do we have? How to make I feel like you're the perfect fit. Thank you, Gazelle. This is a question we haven't really talked about. So AI is fine. Different organizations use different software to organize the job applications. There's not one Skynet Unimatrix system that's out there. So the idea that there's sort of one, overarching system is a myth. So I wouldn't worry about making AI feel that we're a perfect fit because AI has no feelings. And I'm a fan. I like AI stuff. I like it. It's super fun. And it has no feelings at all. Hey, Jonathan, you just booked a call, man. Really look forward to talking to you. Nice job, Jonathan. All right, Jonathan's going to show up on time. He's going to get some help. Way to go. AI doesn't have any feelings. So the opportunity, put your stuff in and circumvent that. Right? Circumvent that. Find the hiring manager who's behind the scenes, who's pulling their hair out because they're buried in work. They've been banging on the back door of the recruiting people. Hey, Ronald, we look forward to talking to you too. Nice work, Ronald. Right? They've been banging on the back door of HR saying, can we hire somebody? Right? And so Gazelle, you reach out to them and the person's like, this good person, and hopefully I'm not mispronouncing your name. This person, Gazelle, sounds great. They walk up to HR and they're like, hey, this one, Gazelle, I want to talk to Gazelle. And they're like, well, we already sent Gazelle a rejection letter. I don't care. And all of a sudden, magically, Gazelle gets a congratulations, you've got an interview. That's exactly what happened to Andrew, right? He used that tactic and now he's got an offer. And before he got an automated no letter. You can just ignore the AI stuff, right? Ignore the AI stuff. Hey, Gustavo says, how can I get hired by you? Yeah, man. I have people that work for me. They're great. And a lot of them used Sharon says, is the call video or phone that we're booking? It's a video call, Sharon. It's a video call. Absolutely. 100%. Okay. So what other questions do we have? If any, and I just want to acknowledge, and poor Jessa, she's scrambling. She's like, you're doing a great job, Jessa. Golf clap for Jessa. So one of the questions that sometimes comes up, and I haven't seen it yet, so I want to talk about it, is age, right? People are saying, man, I'm worried about my age. And so some of you may be like, so I'm taking years off my resume and I'm taking years off my graduation dates. If that's you, please stop doing that. Please, right? Because if the reason they're going to hire you is that they trust you and you're coming out of the gate saying, I don't trust you, it just destroys the trust. It's one of the worst moves. And not only that, but you're probably giving them a 15 or 25-year discount. So why would you do that? So don't do that. And I'm not saying ageism, racism, sexism aren't real things. They are, and they suck and they're terrible. And we want to buy into the belief that the universe is conspiring to help us, because if we believe it, my experience is we tend to see it. And I could be wrong. Ruda, we're going to make this our last question today. What could be possible reasons when a resume is getting filtered and downloaded, also LinkedIn profile is getting viewed, but not? So it probably, they don't trust you. Hey, Lauren, look forward to talking to you. Really look forward to talking to you, right? So Ruda, and there's only one reason, like it's trust. The reason your resume is getting rejected, the reason, you're not hearing back, the reason you're going into the interview is they don't trust you, or they trust somebody more, or they don't trust you enough. and it's something personal. So the opportunity is to really double down on trust, right? Really double down on trust. That's the key. Give them every reason in the world to trust you. And sometimes, like, do it. Like, look, some people I'm on a call right now. Some of you are signing up to book time with me and some of you aren't. The ones that are booking a call, they've decided they trust me. And the ones that aren't, you either don't need it or you're like, I don't know. Sounds like a big, long sales call. You don't trust me. It's okay. It's okay. But this is happening in real time, right? And it's the same way. And so part of the opportunity here is to manifest the change we seek, right? So if you want people to trust you more, be more trusting. If you want people to invest in you more or pay you more, be open to investing in yourself. It gets pretty meta. So look, guys, I really acknowledge you for being on this call. If you've been on the job hunt for a while, please know there are bright things on the horizon for you. And if what you've been doing hasn't been working, like, let's get this handled. You're so welcome, Rita, right? Like, let's get this handled. You don't have to do this alone. You don't have to keep doing the things you've been doing and getting the same results you've been getting. So many people have jumped on this workshop and have booked a call and signed up for a program, even though they were scared, and they saved a lot of time and money from doing so. And if that's an opportunity you're looking for, like, come talk to us because, we can get this handled. Rachel, thank you so much for your kind words. Really appreciate that. Yeah, Sharon, that's right. It's the definition of insanity. Okay, folks, I send you lots of love. Like, there are bright things on the horizon for you. You can figure this out. And if you're looking for a little help, let's talk. Hope to have the chance to meet you guys and take care of yourselves. Great to have you all. Take care.